Okay, so my name's Anton Rosenfeld. I play the horn in Leamington Sinfonia Orchestra. I actually joined in 2003, so I've been playing for quite a while and had a really enjoyable time doing that. The horn is part of the brass family, but it's a little bit of a hybrid because sometimes horn players think of themselves as sitting with the wind as well, because they do a lot of playing with the wind in orchestras as well. So they have a slightly different role to perhaps let's say the trumpet or the trombone in the brass family. And in terms of range, they sit somewhere in the middle of the brass family. Funnily enough, it's quite difficult to get the lowest and the highest notes possible on the horn. Really, it depends on the player, but I can sort of demonstrate the normal range that we would sort of expect to play in an orchestra. So some of the lowest notes go down to something like this. And then you might expect to go up as high as... That's about as high as you'd expect the horn to go normally. Sometimes you might get higher notes than that in some sort of baroque pieces or specialist pieces, but those are the sort of normal range that you'd expect the horn to play in. Actually, you produce the sound yourself with the vibrating of your lips. There's no sort of reed or anything that makes a sound. So I can literally just, by buzzing my lips, I go... I can make the sound, which is basically that being amplified through all this tubing. So I can do it with the mouthpiece. And then I just attach it to the horn. You can play a lot of notes without changing the valves. So I'll give an example here. So you can get lots of notes. So you can see I'm not putting my fingers down on the valves, getting all those different notes. But what happens when you put one of these valves down, you can see you've got these little bits of tubing. What the valve will do is divert the air. So instead of going straight through down here, it will go around this little extra bend instead. So you're actually changing the length of tubing. So this is what the note, if I just play an arpeggio, these few notes. Now if I put this valve down, now if I put this valve down, so you can see with the combination of all these different valves, you can get most of the notes. Most of it's done with your lips, but the valves are just to sort of fill in and get the notes in between. There's lots of great things about being a French horn. I think the thing that really gets me is the number of different moods it can sort of bring about. So it can play sort of triumphant things, it can play sort of beautiful, slushy, romantic things, it can play lots of nice, exciting things as well. And the thing I really like about the horn is how when you have sort of like 3 or 4 horns playing together, they just sort of mould beautifully. I mean, one horn sounds nice, but 3 or 4 horns together just sound absolutely beautiful. It is possible to even get a sound out of a mouthpiece, a bit of gas pipe and a funnel. You don't need any sort of fancy valves or anything, you can still play some notes. So you get quite a reasonable sound out of that really. So yeah, perhaps if you haven't got a French horn to hand, you could still get some sort of sound out of a bit of tubing.